rights to NBC. They are still sorting out something. Who's coming for the health meeting? Don't even check your timing. You can explain to your panel that we are just waiting on NBC so that they wait a bit, maybe 2 minutes. Can you turn your mask? In the white is outside, so it can the blue can go. Hileni, please turn your mask. It's making you look funny. Or maybe you can remove the mask. You look good without the mask.
It's Monday, the 20th of June, 2022. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to the Government Information Center, coming to you live from the capital city of Namibia, Windhoek. My name is Eleni Felapusa-Munyela and I'll be your host for this afternoon. Today, we are discussing an overview of water supply in Namibia. And to help us deliberate on the topic, I'm joined by two gentlemen in the studio, and they are going to help us understand the topic. But before we kick off today's discussion, I am joined by Honorable Dr. Kalumbi Shangula, Minister of Health and Social Services, and he's going to give us our daily dose of the COVID-19 health update. Doctor, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, moderator, esteemed panelists, fellow Namibians. I'm going to give the COVID-19 update for the 19th of June 2022. We have received 462 results in the last 24 hours reporting cycle. And out of those, 36 have tested positive for COVID-19, giving us a positivity ratio of 7.8%. Of these cases, 29 are new cases and 7 are reinfections. The sex distribution is 20 males, of which 17 are new cases, and 16 females, of which 12 are new cases. The age range from 7 years to 82 years. I will read the new cases only. Commerce 8, all from Windhoek. Swakopmund 8, 6 from Swakopmund. Let me repeat, Erongo 8, 6 from Swakopmund, 1 each from Walvis Bay and Omaruru. Oshkoto 4, with Onanjokwe contributed 2, and Tsumeb and Amthea 1 each. Chodonjupa 2 from Ochvarongo. Shana 2 from Oshakati. Zambezi, Hardap, Karas, Kunene, and Maheke, 1 each from Katima in Zambezi, Marienthal in Hardap, Kitmanswap in Karas, Opuo in Kunene, and Khobabis in Omaheke. Among the confirmed cases, there are 3 learners and 1 student. 5 cases are fully vaccinated, of which 1 has received a booster dose. 3 cases are not eligible for vaccination, and 28 are not vaccinated. 14 cases from 2 regions have recovered. Hardap 8 and Kunene 6. The number of active cases is now 1,221. 41 cases are currently hospitalized, of which 3 are in ICU. 1 of the hospitalized cases have received 1 dose of COVID-19 vaccines. 4 are fully vaccinated, but none of those in ICU have been vaccinated. Hospitalization is as follows: Erongo 11, Umsati 7, Koma 6, Oangwena 5, Oshana 4, Hardap, Karas, and Kunene 2 each, Ochadonjupa and Zambezi 1 each. On the positive side, we have not recorded any death during the period under review. By the 18th of June 2022, a total of 470,872 people aged 18 years and above have received 1 dose of COVID-19 vaccine, which represent 32% of the target population. A total of 148,236 have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, while 264,346 adults have received 2 doses of the other vaccine types. Hence, 412,582 adults have completed their vaccination schedule, which translates into 28% of the target population. 23,510 children aged 12 years up to 17 have received one dose of the Pfizer vaccine, which represent 8% of the target population. Of this, 11,906 are fully vaccinated. Hence, the cumulative number of people vaccinated with the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine for both adult and children stands at 494,382, of which 424,408 are fully vaccinated, translating to 24% of the total target population. 71,485 people have received COVID-19 vaccine booster. In terms of national update summary, cumulative confirmed individuals, including reinfection, the total number now stands at 168,904. And out of those, 163,612 have recovered, giving us a recovery rate of 96.9%. Total COVID death, 3,710. COVID-related deaths, 346, giving us a total death due to COVID-19 or involving COVID-19, 4,056. We have so far tested 1,556,048 samples since the beginning of the pandemic. Currently, the number of people we have in quarantine stands at 611. This concludes today's update. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the health update. Well, back on our schedule, as earlier alluded to, I am joined in the studio by two gentlemen who are both experts in today's topic. We are joined by Mr. Victor Slinger, who is a Program Technical Advisor from Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform. Mr. Victor, good afternoon and welcome to today's session.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. We are also joined by Mr. Henry Mukendwa, who is Head of Planning and Water Resources Management at NamWater. Good afternoon, Mr. Mukendwa, and welcome back to the Government Information Center.
Good afternoon, Helen, and good afternoon to all of you.
Thank you. All right, so this session, the session of today, as earlier alluded to, will concentrate on recent programs as well as initiatives being implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform in collaboration with NamWater to address the demand of water in the country. Let's start with you, Mr. Slinger. As an overview, can you give us a picture, percentage-wise, in the accessibility of potable water by Namibians?
Yes, thank you for the question, Eleni. The estimated percentage of rural population with access to potable water or drinking water is about 70%, and in urban areas is about 98%. Now it's worth note that the last assessment of data of relation to excess water was in 2016, and it was noted by the Namibia Demographic and Health Survey. The survey noted that the rural population was 62.7%, and the urban population 97.2%. Yes.
All right. Now, Mr. Mukendwa, what is the mandate of NamWater, And how does it fulfill the government's responsibility to provide water for all Namibians?
Thank you very much for the question, Helene. NAMWATER's mandate comes in form of an act of parliament, the act that established NAMWATER in 1997. NAMWATER is mandated to provide quality water and related services to all stakeholders, taking cognizance of the environment, that the environment needs water. Also taking cognizance of the scarcity of water. As you know, this country is a very dry country. And we also take cognizance of the dependence of all living things on water. So in as much as we would like to do this, to provide this water to the satisfaction of all stakeholders, we have got these other issues that we also have to provide for.
Okay.
But yeah, that is our mandate, a very clear mandate. Initially meant to provide largely bulk water to bulk customers, but there's been a slight shift now. We have been drifting towards also providing individuals and rural water and rural populations.
Okay.
And we fit, we are an extension of government. We are not in anywhere something that is standing alone. We are an extension of the ministry. So in our efforts, we are trying by all means to make sure as many Namibians as possible as to have access to clean drinking water, and the industry also has water for their industrial activities.
Indeed.
So we are both an economic enabler and improving quality of life through supplying water.
All right.
Sure, thank you.
All right. Mr. Slinger, at times there is confusion as to where the responsibilities of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform is, and that of NAMWATER. Can you kindly just highlight that for us?
Yes, Eleni, I understand that there are sometimes confusion because sometimes the rural population report breakdowns or break leakages to NAMWATER while they should have reported to the ministry. But the thing is this, NAMWATER is, according to what my colleague, Mr. Mukonda, said, is an institution established through an act, and they are the bulk water supplier of Namibia. So they supply water to a certain point. From there on, the other institutions distribute the water. Let's take, for example, for the city of Windhoek. NAMWATER will supply the water up to a certain point of reservoirs, and from there on, the city of Windhoek will distribute the water. Now, the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, through the Directorate of Rural Water, Supply Sanitation Coordination, ensure that rural communities, they've got a responsibility that rural communities in the rural areas receive water in good numbers and in good quality.
All right.
Yes, maybe I can add. They also ensure that through their work, that for the rural communities, that there are short pipeline extensions to bring the water nearer to the people. They construct earth dams for the livestock of the communities out there. And one of the functions also to construct bulk water supply systems which they give over or hand over to NAM Water as an asset and to maintain and operate them.
All right. Okay. To our viewers out there, we are encouraging you to join our conversation. You can stream us live on Facebook. On Facebook, we are at Ministry of Information and Communications Technology -- Republic of Namibia. We are on Facebook live at Ministry of Information and Communications Technology -- Republic of Namibia, as well as YouTube. We are at MICT Namibia. On YouTube, we are at MICT Namibia. All right. Okay, so alternatively to our viewers, you can call into the studio and make your concerns heard. The calling number is 061 400 397. The calling number is 061 400 397. All right, as we continue with the conversation, Mr. Mukendwa, brief us about the development of the Namwater Canal that is currently ongoing. I understand there's an upgrading of the Oshakati treatment plant as well. What is Namwater aspiring to achieve?
Thank you very much, Helen. Namwater is engaged at the moment with the two related projects. The repairs on the Kalweke Canal, the last portion that starts from Ogongo to Oshakati. The idea is restoration. We are trying to restore that canal to its design capacity after deterioration due to age and some other damages. That is meant to supply enough water to the Oshakati plant, because at the plant in Oshakati we are expanding. At Oshakati we are trying to move from the current 40,000 cubes per day with an additional 50. That means we are going up to 90, from 40 to 90,000 per day. And that is really meant to relieve pressure in terms of the pipelines, especially the end of the pipelines in Oshikoto and in Ohangwena, that were almost running out of pressure and running out of capacity. So once we have upgraded both the canal and the plant at Oshakati, we should be able then to supply water to the end of the current network and to be able to establish feed the network into our communities. So that is what is happening on the canal and at the treatment plant in Oshakati.
Okay.
They're two different. The other one is on the program that we are talking about today, the treatment plant. But the canal is a Namwater funded thing.
All right. Maybe just to follow up, does this mean the residents of Oshakati also use water from the canal, or is that supplied by Namwater as well from the canal or from another plant?
No, the residents of Oshakati use water from the treatment plant.
Okay.
The canal is just a conduit. It brings water into the plant. From the plant, which is now treated water. We then distribute it to.
Okay.
We offer it to the towns, Angwendiva, Oshakati, and Dangwa. We did some distribution pump stations and pipelines. That is now potable water, and some of it then goes to the branching lines.
Okay.
So the water from the canal is not given directly to people. It first has to be treated.
All right.
At Oshakati.
Okay. I was actually about to ask whether the water in the canal is for human consumption or for animal, or both.
It would be fit for animals, but not for human consumption.
Okay. All right. Mr. Slinger, talk to us about the process of applying for rural water. To which office are applicants supposed to forward their applications to? Is it NAMWater or that of Ministry of Agriculture?
Thank you, Linda, for the question.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, people used to apply to the ministry, to the Director of Rural Water Supply at that time. But as things have changed and procedures have changed, they are applying to NAMWater. And NAMWater, they fill in forms, and then NAMWater connect them for private offtakes. And NAMWater is also reading the water meters as well as providing them or giving them the water bills, monthly water bills. So if people are defaulting, NAMWater then reconnect them and cut them off and later on reconnect them if they are paying. So the whole connection and applying is to NAMWater, not to the DWSC.
Okay. So I'm trying to comprehend what you just said now. So if I'm at the village, at a rural area somewhere, and I'd like to apply for water, the right office for me to approach would be NAMWater. So my application is submitted to NAMWater, is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. And then also NAMWater bills me.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Now that is understood. So in an event when there is a burst pipe or water leakage, where should the incident be reported to?
Whenever there's water leakage and somebody come across it, he or she should report it to any government institution or to any water supply utility. But let's be specific. In the regions, usually if there's a pipe burst or pipe leakage in the rural areas, you report it to the rural offices. DWSC got offices all over the country. In each country there is, in each region there is an office for DWSC. So they can report it at that office. Or they can report it to NAMWater, or to the regional council, or to the village council. Let's say there shouldn't be a problem for any person to report it to a government institution.
Okay. There were quite a number of institutions that you've named now that in an event of a burst pipe, the residents should approach. You've mentioned that they can report them to any government institution or regional councils. NAMWater if represented on the ground as well.
Yes.
But who is the number one priority that who is the number one point that the residents need to come across? Is it just the nearest or any of the above?
Any of the above.
Okay.
But as I said, if I'm more specific, they should report it to, in rural areas, they should report it to DWSC officers or the regional council. In cities or the towns, like Bantu, they should report at the municipality city of Bantu to the village councils where village councils are active.
Okay. All right. Maybe whilst at this question, what are the fees involved? If I'd like to apply for water and let's say I'm in Okongo in Angwena region and I'm interested in applying for water, to bring water to my homestead. What are the fees involved?
As far as I know, the fees were 1,200 meters for private offtake,
Okay.
but it may have changed in
Yeah.
time.
Okay. Mr.
Yeah.
Mokendwa, maybe you can kindly add on to what Mr. Slinger is saying.
Oh yes.
fees.
Let me probably start with the water connections.
Yeah.
Just to add on what Mr. Slinger has said. When you need a water connection, especially on non-water infrastructure, there are two standard forms. One for bulk water, the other one for just a normal line.
Oh, so there is a distinction between the two.
Between
Okay.
bulk and
Okay.
and just a normal line.
Right.
A normal line in that it probably doesn't need extended review of whether there is enough water and all those kind of things.
The pressure as
You
well.
have to look at the adequacy of all the components on the line. But for bulk water, you might have to review the availability of all the components, the storage, the pressure, the whatever, and all what you need. And so someone would apply on either of those two forms. And they will be asked to come with an ID, maybe proof of residency that they are residing in that village, or maybe the traditional authority would help them to say, this person, yes, we know them, this is their village, or this is where they come from, this is where they are resident of. And maybe some form of income to say, look, for this volume that I'm asking for, am I able to pay for it? Yeah, then we will ask them, we'll review the availability of water and then approve.
Okay.
Once approved, then we'll ask them for the fee that Mr. Slinger has mentioned. It has moved just from 1.2 to 1.6 of recent.
Okay.
So at the moment is 1,600. If it's bulk, we usually would have asked a little bit more, maybe 60, 66, 67,000. Because that might need us to then do a little bit of planning work and look at adequacy of components and everything. And then we might even have to bring one or two other things for us to be able to provide for that bulk demand. Then from there, from that 1.6, we are going to provide them with a connection point. We are going to provide them with a valve so that we isolate them from the rest of the bulk line. Should their pipe has a problem, then we can close that valve so that water doesn't continuously go to waste. So we buy the valve, either it's a ball valve, then a tap is included in that, and our labor to do the connection in that 1.6. Then from there we'll be billing them monthly and collecting. For a bulk water supply, it's a bit tedious. It could take a bit of time because usually you would have a study that accompanies that, and it's very formal. Things have to be approved from one signatory to another, ending up maybe with the CO.
Okay. So let me just ensure that I understand, and for the sake of any listener or viewers out there that might have the same question as well. So for a single household, it's 1.6 for the application fees, is that correct? But for the bulk supply water, is there a specific amount, or is it still the same 1.6?
It's a little bit more. That's why I mentioned 66,000.
Okay, 66,000.
But it also depends. Our finance department will be more knowledgeable on that than me.
All right.
But the last time I remember when we were trying to connect someone outside Windhoek, I think it was 66,000.
Okay.
That included the study, the feasibility study that we have to do and everything.
All right.
But for those rural, because we're talking of rural now, for those ones who are rural and individuals, 1.6 is.
Okay. All right. We are reminding you, the viewers, again, we are inviting you to take part in our conversation. You can join us on Facebook at Ministry of Information and Communications Technology, Republic of Namibia. On Facebook, we are at Ministry of Information and Communications technology-Republic of Namibia on YouTube. We are at MICT Namibia on YouTube. We are at MICT Namibia, and you can alternatively call in. Our call-in number in the studio is 061 400 397. Our call-in number in the studio is 061 400 397. Okay, this question is addressed to both of you gentlemen. You can see which one to take it first, but maybe we can start with you, Mr. Slinger. Linking this to the upgrades currently that were undertaken by NamWater and the canal in Oshakati that is connecting Oshakati from Otapi, or from the canal, connecting the canal to Oshakati treatment or Otapi treatment. How will this resolve the reduced water pressure in Umsati region as well as the Oshana and Oshikoto? But maybe I should address this question to Mr. Mukendwa.
Yes. Thank you, Helen, and thank you to the rest of the listeners. We do have a project at Otapi. We're upgrading the plant there. I think let me just say, for a planning horizon of about 17 years. So once we are done at Otapi and we are done at Oshakati, we should have adequate water for the current demand and the demand going up to the next 17 years, more or less up to 20 years. So once we are done, this is what we hope to achieve. And that should be able to cater for the current demand and should allow us also to move into areas that do not have water. Yes, that is the plan.
Okay.
And you might be aware, we had pressure and the adequacy issues starting from Omthia.
Yes.
Starting from Omafo, going towards Sinana.
Yeah.
We had challenges already going south of Tapi. We had challenges. So all these issues would be resolved as current issues. But we would still have capacity for another 17 years.
Okay.
On a projection of about between 3 and 5% of population growth.
Okay.
So we should be safe for the next more or less 20 years.
All right. That's relieving to hear and refreshing, actually. Mr. Slinger, this year, the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, in conjunction with NamWater, announced the extension of the Rundu treatment plant. Will this project then contribute to solving or addressing the water problems experienced by the residents of Kavango East, or perhaps also then solve the crocodile attack incidences that are been quite experienced in that region, especially for the residents that go fetch water from the river?
Yes, Lenny. This is also on the Rundu Purification Plant is a NamWater project.
Okay.
But we, as the ministry and NWSSP, Namibia Water Sector Support Program, will drill and install boreholes in that area so that people cannot, like you said, fetch water at the river and are in danger of crocodiles and those things. So we will drill and install boreholes in that area, which will reduce the conflict of the wildlife-human conflict.
All right. Okay.
Maybe just that
yes.
Isn't that is two-legged? There's their part and there's our part. To bring context to the issue of water supply in Rundu is that Rundu at the moment is under what is called suppressed demand. That means the demand is more than what NamWater could supply. I think it's about 70% that we could supply.
Mm-hmm.
The other 30% we had been struggling for a while.
Okay.
But the current development with the upgrade of the treatment plant at Rondu and the upgrade of storage on the two supply points, we have got two supply points in Rondu, the Karapamwe and the Rondu stations. All of them will be upgraded. The treatment plant is also upgraded, and we will then have 100% Rondu covered.
Okay.
And then we will move on to have even more water to branch out
Okay.
from Rondu towards the east and towards the west. I think it's Kayangona, towards Mopine and Masivi.
Okay.
And there is also a plan of a pipeline coming towards the main road to more or less maybe Kashinakash. But that one is not yet confirmed, but
Okay.
it's part of what we would like to do. So once we are done at Rondu, we would have capacity to supply Rondu for the next planning horizon, again 17, 20 years, including these other maybe a radius of 10 to 20 kilometers around Rondu. We have branching lines going out there. But we also have capacity in the design that we could even move beyond 2,000 at the intake. The intake will be designed to be able to take 4,000 cubes per day, which is a future reserve. And should we then, in our Kani consolidation, meaning trying to back up Venduk, should we then decide to consider Kavango River, we might also in the design provide another 9,000 at our intake in Rondu. Should bringing water from Kavango be an option, from Kavango to Venduk be an option? We still have a design option there that is equivalent to 9,000 that could be coming here. But that one is still a study that we call Kani consolidation study. We are comparing the cheapest option of bringing water to the central area of Venduk, which is Kani, of Namibia, which is Kani, and the biggest supply demand point is Venduk. The three options are the southern dams, including Nagatal, Kavango, and desalination. The study is ongoing. Probably not yet started. We are still at procurement level, but should then the study point to which one is the best option?
Okay.
And should it be Kavango River? Then the design in the current project would provide for that space.
Okay. All right. Perhaps a question on everyone's mind, if not everybody, is the situation with the water problems in Kavango is Rondu, to be specific. When is it likely to be resolved? Because, you know, one would think there's a river there. Why is there ongoing water problem when there is water readily available? What could be missing to resolve this situation?
I don't know if it's an area I should go into, but it's a two-way.
Yeah.
One, as we said, that we had suppressed demand. Our capacity there was not adequate. We also have old infrastructure, and it's for that reason that we have got this new project.
Okay.
But the biggest one, I think, is ability to pay. Water is there, but you can't pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the local authority.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we are involved now with the Ministry of, which is this ministry that deals with the local authorities?
It's urban.
Yeah, we are involved with them to try and help these local authorities that are struggling to pay.
Okay.
There is a study that is ongoing to see where are the challenges.
Yeah.
Is it that the tradable activities of these people are not adequate? Is it that there is management issues? Is it that so the study is ongoing jointly between us and them.
Okay.
And when it's finished, we are going to have recommendation to say, maybe it's technical capacity. Let's intervene
All
this
right.
way.
Okay.
Maybe it's the ability to manage finances or generate finances. Let's help and intervene this way. So that one is ongoing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We do have a comment on our social media platforms. Richard Kambinda would like to know, how feasible is this desalination in Namibia? Is the cost worth the effort? Gentlemen, I'm just going to pose the question to the both of you. Each one of you could take it.
Elena, I think that's actually a good question. But that's the reason why we are busy with the studies that Mr. Mukendo talked about. We want to see whether we can get water from desalination. We want to see whether we can get water from the rivers,
Yes.
and the dams in the south, Nekatal and Hartap. And we are also looking at the option of getting water from the Kavango region rivers. We are doing feasibility studies to see which one is the most feasible.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. We are reminding you, the viewers, yes, you can join our conversation. We are on Facebook, live at Ministry of Information and Communications Technology, Republic of Namibia. And we are also live on YouTube at MICT Namibia. Alternatively, you can call in the studio at 061-400-397. You can call in the studio and have your sentiments heard at 061-400-397. All right, Mr. Slinger, we hear about, there's a lot of talks about the Ohangwena aquifer too, and its potential to provide water to all the regions around Ohangwena region. How are we currently making use of the Ohangwena aquifer, and what water infrastructure development do we have in place so far?
Yes, thank you again, Eleni. We drilled 5 deep wells in Omondungilo. And that water intercepting the deep aquifer. So that water we then use to transport through a pipeline to the areas of Pembe, where there's really a very much shortage of water. So we laid a pipe 10 kilometers of different offtakes, so that it lightened the plight of the people there.
All right, thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Mukendwa, we briefly spoke about the upgrade of the Shakati treatment. We understand that there are ongoing community meetings regarding this upgrade in the area of Shakati. What are you seeking to inform the communities around the Shakati treatment plant about during the community sessions? I know you briefly touched on it, but maybe just the community meetings aspect.
Thank you, Eleni. On that particular one, I tend to be a little bit thin on information.
Okay.
But I'm aware that we are going to treat water. You know, when you treat water, there is wastewater that comes out. And this wastewater is, in a way, a hazard to the environment. And you need to contain it. Sometimes you need to evaporate it, and the residue, you might have to transport it to some official holding facilities.
Okay.
So the current meetings that are going on speak more to environmental issues that people should be aware of. We have been talking to the local authority to avail land for us for these sewage ponds and the related infrastructure that should go, that should take the wastewater to these sewage ponds, and people should know the dangers of sewage ponds in terms of the dangers of the water itself, and the children and the animals sleeping in and drowning and all this kind of thing. And so at the moment we are speaking to the community about the environmental issues that are going to come along with the new infrastructure that is part and parcel and extension of the upgrades at Oshakati.
Okay. I think, I'm here thinking also, I'm actually also speaking under correction. So, water plant especially, would come with a lot of cons as well as opportunities. Opportunity in the sense that now human beings as well as animals will have access to water, and but then also there comes an aspect of the environment and being careful, because we've had, as of recent, a lot of kids that have drowned, especially during the rainy seasons, and for this one also. I'm just here thinking, we should take it as it is, because and maybe just to caution those that are living closer to the plant to take care of their kids as well as animals. Hopefully the relevant institutions have put infrastructure in place to demarcate the place off and ensure that it's safe for those around them, even though caution need to be practiced.
Yes, very important what you are saying, Eleni. When you bring development to people, you have to let them know there is this development coming. This is the good part of it. This is what you should take care of. On the development is coming to you, is yours. Vandalism, theft, all those kind of things. It's obvious that these ponds are going to be fenced, and wherever we might have sensitive and important infrastructure like pump stations and whatsoever, we'll try by all means to protect them, maybe in some form of a building, so that people don't have easy access to some of the things that could be dangerous, and things that could easily be vandalized or stolen. But yeah, like you are saying, very, very important that as much as we bring development, the aspects of it that might endanger life or the environment should be socialized into that community.
All right.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. We have one more last comment from our social media platform, which is Facebook. It's a comment. It is very feasible, and not all projects, I'm assuming is referring to the desalination that we spoke of earlier, the earlier comment that we read. It is very feasible. The comment is from Junius Urov Erasmus, and he's saying that it is very feasible, and not all projects should be 3 billion or those outrageous amounts. Cheaper, more visible options are available, but again, our government doesn't want to listen. Okay, that is the colleagues. Those are his sentiments, and we've taken note of them. Okay, back on our schedule. Recently, NamWater launched its 5-year strategic plan. Can you share some major infrastructure development lined up under this strategic plan? I know, Mr. Mukendwa, you've spoken about your mandate and briefly touched on the strategic plan. Maybe you can just...
Yes.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Helene, and the rest of the listeners. Yes, NamWater has a 5-year strategic plan that has just been approved by the relevant authorities, and we have embarked in infrastructure that speaks to access and sustainability of water in our communities. I think there are about 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken. We have mentioned Rundu already, we have mentioned Oshakati already, which is number 2. Number 3 is the Zambezi region, where we are expanding the intake in the river. We are also expanding the plant Mr. Slinger probably is going to come in and help us with the expansion of storage, and his team is also going to help us maybe expand from Vokalo to Ngoma, and then that infrastructure will be passed over to us once it's done. But our part is the plant, the intake, and the storage in our yard. But it's a very interesting time, so to say, in the water sector at the moment, in that we have got developments, and government has really come to be aware that water as an economic enabler is a very important thing, and they are now providing funds for us to fund water infrastructure beyond NamWater's capacity, and we thank them for this. And people should be aware that government is trying by all means to really service them.
Yeah.
And under this program, there is that Katima Mlilo Zambezi region project that will go up to Ngoma, those who know Ngoma. We might even branch from Vukalo towards Kabe and Lusese, and then coming back to the main line. Depending on availability of budgets, Mr. Slinger is very much aware of that.
Yeah.
The other one is the Inanna or Mafo line that we are going to upgrade as well. That one is still in a feasibility study, because it might also come down to Makango or Nambutu line, trying to move into the Ondobe, Itope areas, and going to Onangolo in the east. So that is some of the the projects that we are running under this 5-year infrastructure, in 5-year strategic plan. State House is very much aware of these projects. They have a couple of project managers from their side who are coming time and again to make sure we are online, we are on the time schedule with these projects, and that in 2024, 2025, we should deliver on these projects. So we mentioned the Oshakati, we mentioned the Rondu, we mentioned the Zambezi, we mentioned the Inanna, Inanna, Omafo, and the Omakango, and Mbutu. And what else is still remaining on that? We have Abenab. Abenab is just about 90 kilometers northeast of Grootfontein. There we intend to invest in either bringing water to back up drought periods here in Windhoek, or to have a constant stream that is going to come to back up the online users and mushrooming demand around the city of around Windhoek. There are a few mines that are coming up around here. We have got just here in Dodabis about 2 mines that will be coming, Lordstone and Jandil. We have got here in Hockfeld, Mtamire mine that is coming up. We have got one Twin Hills outside Karibe, between Karibe and Omaruru. We have got the tin mine in Uis. So we need to provide for all this demand. And government really has seen and seized this opportunity and has availed funds for us to move with our 5-year strategic plan. So by the end of the 5 years, all these projects should be rested and they should be delivering water to Namibians.
Indeed. Indeed. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mukendwa, for that information. Mr. Slinger, your last remarks.
I just want to say what Ms. Mukendwa is saying is actually the facts that's on the ground. We are working together in collaboration that we make water, Namibia's security in water safe, so that there can always be water wherever we go. And with this, the government and the ministry are working hand in hand with NamWater to bring all these projects to being.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. All right, Namibia, there you have it. As you've heard, it's the government's fiduciary duty to provide potable water to everyone in Namibia. An hour, as per the usual, is never enough for these deliberations. But today we've come to the end of our discussion here at the Government Information Center. From me, myself, Hileni Felepo Samunyala, and my production crew, it's goodbye.